Thank you so much for taking the time to be with us, Coach. I know you have a doubleheader today, so we'll make this as focused as possible. Please share with us HPU's women's softball team, where you've come from, where you are now, and what's the vision for the future?
Aloha, Laila. Mahalo very much for having me join today. Hawaii Pacific University really appreciates it very much. HPU softball was built on, fundamental skills, fundamental teamwork, all of the things important for a softball team. Our softball field is located at the foothill of the Ko'olaus on the Woodward Hawaii Loa campus, where we've been since 1993. Fast forward to today, we have 2 national championships, one NAIA and the most recent NCAA Division II title. And so we've really built in that championship elite mindset into our program. Most recently, with the challenges that we've faced during the pandemic, we've had to adjust, we've had to pivot. We've had to make changes, not just to our program system, but also to incorporate a lot of mental health, mental wellness, social emotional wellness into the development of our student athletes. So where we've been before in being that elite program, building champions, building winners, building future leaders, have now really shifted and focused more on developing them as individuals, making certain that we're caring about their wellness. Their safety was the main priority. And I think that's really helped us shift our focus into developing future leaders, game changers in the future who will be able to adapt and shift during challenges similar to a pandemic. You're seeing a different generation of student athletes who were faced with challenges and can now move on.
That's always been my perspective of athletics in the first place, team sports. During the shutdown of schools and the change in format, it must have been very challenging, shall we say, to bring the women together.
It really was, and we've been fortunate to have good senior leaders who really care for their underclassmen, who make certain that the communication is clear, that it's two-way, to foster that team camaraderie and sense of belonging. Because a lot of our student athletes, they're not all from Hawaii. We have some as far as Virginia, Colorado, Canada. And so their sense of home is a little different from our student athletes that are born and raised here in Hawaii.
Can you speak a little bit about the scholarship process, and how that might have impacted your recruitment, but also the future of the athletes?
Scholarships in Hawaii, it's an avenue for our families, our ohana, to pursue their athletic endeavors and at the same time getting that baccalaureate, that master's, and even their doctoral degrees. Athletics, it's an avenue. It's a means to an end for a lot of families who may not have the financial capability to send their sons or daughters to university or college. And there's many different ways to get there. The four-year university is the preferred route, whether it's a Division I, a Division II, a Division III, an NAIA, or a junior college route. There is always an avenue for our students in Hawaii to get an education first, and then to also pursue the sport that they passionately enjoy and love and have grown to develop their skills in. Part of the process for scholarships is getting their names out there, making certain that, they have video, that they participate in tournament showcases, whether it's here in Hawaii or on the continental US, and getting that exposure that would really showcase their skills and their abilities.
How is that possible now at this time? Maybe now easier, but certainly in the past 15 months, it was more challenging.
Oh, absolutely. I think now with this generation of student athletes, they're so used to being media driven and having multiple platforms to showcase their skills. These student athletes nowadays, YouTube and other forms of media exposure, it comes natural for them. And so it's easy it's a lot easier for coaches like myself to access information if we're looking for a particular student athlete, a position player, a hitter. You can basically get onto Google these days, search a name, and you're going to find a ton of video, a ton of footage. And sometimes, it's stuff that you don't want coaches to see. There's a lot of student athletes out there who, maybe through not being so familiar with how information is shared, they don't put the right information out there, and sometimes that gets into the wrong hands.
So what's some advice or some counsel that you could give to athletes who are still in high school as we move forward from this pandemic?
I think it first starts at home with their parents, and making sure that you have those conversations with your ohana on pursuing either after high school and trying to work towards either an associate's degree or a bachelor's degree. If you're the type of athlete where you just want to continue to play, that's fine. Just have a plan, have a conversation with your parents. And then from there, at school, you have so many resources, so many opportunities to research the type of school that would fit you as an individual, the types of programs that you may be interested in academically, as well as the type of athletic powerhouse that you want to go to. And not all student athletes will end up in the Division I level, Division II. And a lot of our student athletes here in Hawaii who are academically driven, they're participating in Division III schools where it's completely driven by academics. And then you have your NAIA four-year universities. These guys, they have a little bit more monies and they can offer a lot more scholarships than the NCAA schools. And then, of course, you have your two-year universities, which may fit a lot of our student athletes who, they may not have done so well in their high school careers, but at least they'll have an opportunity to work towards an associate and with hopes to transfer into a four-year university.
Well, I appreciate your perspective that academics and athletics go hand in hand. And especially here in Hawaii, we have many colleges that offer opportunities, and the encouragement that you give our young people is really appreciated. Thank you.
Well, I truly appreciate being here. I do have to credit a lot of my mentors, Howard A. Okita, who really brought softball to Hawaii and really grew the sport, made it an avenue that it is today. Brian Nakasone, who was also my co-head coach for a number of years, and Michelle Fukumoto, a lot of these individuals really truly shaped Hawaii Pacific University softball, and they've developed me into the leader that I am today, so I really appreciate them very much. All of the families out there, please make it an effort to have those conversations with your young student athlete and start looking and preparing for after high school and what they want to do. Go pursue a 2-year degree or a 4-year degree, and hopefully, you can come back to the community that you grew up in, and you can share your skills, your knowledge, and your abilities here in Hawaii.
And check out online when HPU women's softball plays games.
Yes, please.
Thank you so much for joining us, Jarnett.
Thanks so much, Lila.
You've just had the opportunity to meet head coach Jarnett Lono of Hawaii Pacific University's women's softball team.